So we're going to talk about some emergency situations. Next chapter, we're going to talk about our emergency situations. Okay, we're going to talk about some vehicle malfunctions. The first one we're going to talk about is tire failure. Here's the thing, guys. As we go through these vehicle malfunctions, there is no way that I can teach you every single thing that might happen to your vehicle, okay, and then how to respond to it. All right, we're going to offer you some very brief explanations, and we're going to post a couple of videos that might be able to help you with that, and then we're going to kind of move on. Okay, one of the most kind of common things we have to deal with in terms of vehicle malfunction is a tire failure. Tire failures occur when you have a sudden loss of tire pressure. This can happen for a couple of different reasons, right? It can happen when you hit a pothole. It can happen when you just have worn tires, when you hit an object. Anything that can cause your tire to suddenly deflate is going to create this blowout situation. Okay, if you got badly worn tires, if you are underinflated, even overinflated, you can lead yourself to these situations more easily. So the best way to avoid blowout situations is to make sure that your tires are in good condition. Okay? And then try to avoid running over things on the road. Okay? When you feel a front tire blowout especially, what you're going to feel is the vehicle quickly pulling in the direction of the deflated tire. Okay? And so in that situation, okay, you've got to steer firmly against the pull of the vehicle. So the vehicle is pulling you this way. You want to try to keep the vehicle going straight. Okay. In a rear tire situation, okay, the back end of the vehicle may end up fishtailing. Right. And so you grip the steering wheel firmly. You ease on the accelerator. You try to slow the vehicle. Don't hit your brakes. Okay, check your traffic situation. And this is kind of the next step for both of these, right? As you slow your vehicle down, you're trying to get control of it. You ease yourself after checking the traffic situation around you. You're slowing down, okay? You're easing yourself over and finding a safe place to stop off the road, okay? Turn your hazards on and stop your vehicle when it is safe to do so, okay? Once you get there, you're probably going to have to change a tire. A lot of us may have, be members of AAA or some other, roadside assistance service, and that's great. If you can, that's a great thing to do. Hopefully you never need it, but it's great to have it when you do need it. Okay, so park on a level area away from traffic. You don't want to be right on the white line of the road if you can avoid it, because that's a dangerous place to be. Cars are driving by quickly, and you want to give yourself enough space to be able to work on your vehicle. And if you're right on the white line, another car hits you while you're outside of your vehicle, you're working on it, that's a very dangerous place to be, right? So you want to get as far off the road as possible. Get on a flat area of the road. If you're on an interstate, they have wide aprons kind of for this purpose. Set your parking brake, turn your hazards on. Okay, make sure your car is in park. Do all of those things. Okay, and then block your wheels. Now, a lot of us probably don't have, they don't come standard blocks for your wheels. But if you can, put two blocks of wood in your car. And that way, if your tires fail, if you have a blowout and you have to change your tires, you will put these blocks on the opposite wheel, okay, diagonally from the one that you're working on. So if you're working on the back rear, you'll put it on the front left. If you're working on the back left, you'll put it on the front right. This, as you jack your car up, is going to keep your car from rolling. Okay, ask your passengers to get out of the vehicle. Okay, again, you don't want to be working on the vehicle, sitting on the side of the road, and somebody runs into you and hits you. That's not safe for your passengers. So ask them to get out and go to a safe place while you work. Okay, get your spare tire out, get your jack out, get a lug wrench out, and go to the tire. Now, you probably need to get your manual. You need to check to make sure where you need to place your jack. Okay, and then put it under the vehicle in the appropriate place. Jack it up a little bit. Okay, you want your flat tire still touching the ground so that it won't turn, but you're able to loosen the lug nuts that are on the vehicle removing the wheel cover, loosening the lug nuts, and then once you have those loose, jack the car all the way up. Okay, remove the lug nuts the rest of the way. Okay. I usually, you do kind of a cross pattern, so you work on the lug opposite from the one that you just worked on. Okay, that kind of doesn't, it keeps the tire from kind of jackknifing off and wedging in on one of those lugs. Okay, put the lug nuts, once you get them off though, put them in a safe place, put them in your pocket, put them, if you got a cup or a bowl or something, put it there so you know where they're at, so you don't lose them. You don't want them rolling down into the ditch, into water, and you not being able to find these things. Okay. Remove the wheel with a flat tire, put it to the side, get your spare tire, put it on, rock it gently into position. Okay. Put your lugs back on, again, kind of go in this alternating pattern so that you're tightening the wheel uniformly across. Okay. Lower the vehicle, get the jack out. Okay. Put all your other stuff, the wheel cover, the wheel itself, your jack, your lug wrench, put those all the way. Okay. Remove your blocks, and then you're going to need to try to get your flat repaired. Okay. Whether you need to buy a new tire. Some trucks will have a full-size spare tire, but most vehicles, if they have them, are going to have what we would call a donut or a temporary compact spare. And so this is not going to be the same size as all your other wheels. Okay, if you have a compact spare, it's going to say on there, do not exceed 35 miles an hour. Okay, for 50 miles or whatever it will tell you. Make sure that you're following and heeding that. You do not want to drive on a compact spare more than you have to. Okay, next one is brake failure. Okay, brake failure comes when your brakes stop working. Okay, if you notice it, if you try to hit your brakes and they don't work, first thing you can do is start pumping your brake. Okay, that might restore some pressure to your brake fluid system. That will allow it to close your brake pads and actually stop your vehicle. If that happens though, and that does work, you're still going to want to go and get that car checked out, right? You don't want to, oh, it just happened. And then the next time you go out, maybe it doesn't. Okay. So make sure that you're, if you get it working, that you're then making plans to go and get your car serviced. You can downshift to a lower gear. This is going to mechanically slow your car down. And so if you put it down another gear, you might hear your engine kind of rev up. That's okay, right? But that is going to help to physically slow your car down. The other thing that you can do, depending on the situation you're in, is to use your parking brake. Okay, and so if you got, my Mustang has a parking brake right beside me. It's got a little thumb to release it. If I needed to, I could press that in and I could manually move the parking brake as I needed to. Okay, a lot of trucks though have parking brakes at the foot that kind of ratchet down. So if you're going to use that, you need to make sure that you lift the release and then press that down so it doesn't catch. Because if it catches, it's going to cause your car to go into a skid. Okay. Look for an open zone. If your brakes are not working, you can still steer. Like that's not the end of the world. Obviously, like if you're coming up on a situation where you're going to crash, you're going to want to stop. But if you're on the interstate and you notice your brakes aren't working, like you've got plenty of space to drive and slow down. Let off the accelerator, allow your car to slow down, come to a safe stop, and then call for help. Okay? If it's an absolute dire situation, if you're driving, your brakes aren't working, you've tried your parking brake, whichever method that is, you cannot get it to work. You've got cars in front of you, you're closing fast on those, you've switched into a lower gear, and it's still not working for you, then you can kind of steer into a curb, okay, or something to slow your vehicle down. Rub your wheels up against the curb, create friction there. That's going to ruin your tires. Okay, it's going to potentially hurt your rims, but it will slow you down. If that keeps you from running another car, that's good. But if a collision is absolutely unavoidable in front of you, you don't want to run into somebody square into the back. You don't want to be a rear end collision. It's much better if you can sideswipe somebody. Okay, and that sounds, I don't know. It sounds weird telling you to run into somebody, but instead of running into their back end, like run into the side of, like swipe to the side. Okay. Another type of brake failure is power brake failure. A lot of our cars today have power steering, power brakes. And so if you press your brake and it feels harder, it doesn't seem like you're having to press it a lot harder than you normally do. That might just mean that your power assist is not working. You can still stop. You're just going to have to press the brake pedal harder and actually engage kind of the mechanical piece of it. Other things we can see are brake fade. This is where your brakes begin to overheat and they're losing their effectiveness. And so this happens in the mountains a lot of times. You're going to the mountains, if you're riding your brakes, or any situation really where you're riding your brakes, as you begin to hit your brakes, you notice that they're not stopping you as quickly as they used to. You need to stop the vehicle, let the brakes cool. Okay, have them checked out. Overheating can warp the rotors on disc brakes, and so again, it's something that you're going to need to check out. Driving through water can also create some brake fade. And so as you leave the water, like we talked about earlier, you want to kind of heat them up a little bit so that the water dries off and evaporates off. Okay. Another type of vehicle malfunction that we have to deal with is an accelerator malfunction. This is not necessarily something that you want to have happen. This is where your accelerator becomes stuck or it's not working anymore. One of those can come because of a broken spring. This is actually the thing that causes your accelerator to come up and down. There's a spring in there. If that breaks, then it's not going to come back up, which means that your car's not going to slow down. And so what can you do? Shift your car to neutral. Okay. Put your hazard flashers on. Check for traffic and start to brake. With your car in neutral, you basically disengage the engine, or you disengage the transmission, I should say. And so there's no power getting to your wheels. And so you will slow down kind of manually from there. Okay. It may be a stuck accelerator. Okay. So the spring isn't broken, but your accelerator is stuck. What you can do trying to fix that, you can actually try to kick the side of the accelerator with your foot. That might free it up. It might be something that's gotten it stuck. It might be a bottle or something like that that's in your floorboard. That's why you need to keep your driver's side floorboard clean. But if something gets up there and gets stuck, try to knock it out. Okay, you can kind of do some of the same things that we've talked about with others. Apply your brakes, switch to neutral if you have to. Look for an escape path for open zones in front of you. Okay, as you shift to neutral, just keep in mind that your engine is going to rev up. Okay, because you're still applying power to the engine, but the power is not going to make it to your transmission anymore. Okay, as the engine is going to rev up, that's okay. Okay, it might hurt the vehicle. That's always a possibility, but it's better for that than for you to run into somebody. Once you get stopped, turn your ignition off. Okay, those are kind of the steps for a stuck accelerator. If you're stuck, you've kicked it, you can't get it out, if there's not something obviously physically blocking it, one thing you can try to do is actually put your toe under the accelerator and pick it up, hopefully raising that accelerator pedal up. And as you do that, you can start the process of braking, getting to the side of the road. Never reach down with your hand and try to remove that, because that is going to take your vision off. You have to still steer this vehicle. Okay. Once you free the accelerator, if that's what it was, test it. Make sure that it's going to work. Drive a little bit. Press your gas pedal down. If it seems to work, still take it and get it tested. Okay. Make sure it's not the brake spring. All right. Next is engine failure. Okay. So with engine failure, when your engine first begins to sputter or stop, switch to neutral. Okay. Start moving out of traffic, get to the nearest shoulder, turn your hazards on. In this case, you don't necessarily want to brake. While you're still moving the cars in neutral, try to restart your engine. Okay. If your engine restarts, put your car back into forward and kind of continue on your way. Take your car to get checked out afterwards. If it doesn't start, move to the shoulder. Okay. Once you've lost your engine, your power steering is probably going to go. So it's going to be a little bit harder to maneuver your vehicle. and then try to restart your engine again. If that doesn't work, raise your hood, put your put your hazards or your flashers on, and then call for help. Go get help if necessary. Okay. If you're in a risky situation, you're not quite able to get off the road fully, you need your hazards, you need flashers, you need to call for high patrol or sheriff's department, whatever you need to do, but use it to get your assistance. All right, a flooded engine. This isn't meaning like, you got it in too much water. This is where you flood the engine with too much fuel. If you pump the accelerator when you're starting the vehicle, that can lead to flooding the engine. All right, so how do you recover from a flooded engine? If you hold the accelerator all the way to the floor, that's going to let some air into the system. Okay, while you're holding the accelerator all the way down, turn the ignition switch on and hold it there for 5 seconds. Okay, if the engine isn't starting, then wait a couple of minutes. Okay, and then try that process again. Okay, once it starts, release your accelerator gradually, and that's going to help to clear excess fuel from your engine. Okay, overheated engine, turn off your air conditioner. We've talked about this one a million times. Make sure you don't add water to your radiator until the engine is cooled. All right, steering failure. Use your horn, your hazards, communicate your emergency. Try to stop as quickly and safely as possible. Take your foot off the accelerator. Don't brake, okay, necessarily, because if you don't have control of your steering, you can't ensure that your tires are still going, and so braking can cause your car to go into a skid. Use your parking brake instead, like we talked about the method, to where you are applying the parking brake, hold it in the off position, and kind of pump your parking brake. That's going to help to slow your car down. Shift your car to a lower gear. Again, that will help to slow your car down. It might not be total failure. It might be the power steering failure. We talked about the same thing earlier. If you lose power to your car, you're going to lose power to your power steering. This makes it a much more difficult to steer, but you still can. Okay. Loss of forward vision. If your hood flies up, if your windshield gets shattered, you can't see out. Try, if the hood's up, try to look beneath the crack, maneuver over, come to a stop. Okay. If you can't see under the hood, roll your windows down and actually lean out of the car so that you're able to look in the direction that you're going, checking your blind spots and maneuvering over to the side of the road. Make sure your hazards are on so that other cars know what's going on. Okay. And get yourself to a safe situation. If your headlights fell, use your turn signals. Okay, your right turn signal to light up your path so you can kind of go. You need to slow down immediately. All right, and try to bring your car to a stop in a safe place. Try turning your parking brakes on or your fog lights on, whatever you can try to get on to help give you light to get there safely. All right, if you're in an urban setting, you can use street lights and those types of things as well to help you as you maneuver to a safe position. Do not drive if your headlights are out, though. All right. A splashed windshield, a shattered windshield, turn your windshield wipers on if it's splashed. Obviously, if it's shattered, that's not the case. If it's got stuff on it, try to wipe them off. Use windshield wiper fluid. Move over to the side of the road. All right. A vehicle fire, and these are, like I said, these are all long situations. Or if you had a vehicle fire, it can be really dangerous because you have ordinary combustibles, you've got electronics, you've got oil and fuel. And so you need an ABC fire extinguisher that can control these various different types of fires. If your car catches on fire, let the fire department know. If it's an engine compartment, make sure that your passengers get out. Make sure you get 100 feet away from the vehicle. If you see flames and smoke, don't try to put it out. Okay, leave the hood closed. That's going to help kind of limit oxygen to the fire. Call the fire department. If you really think you can put it out, if it's a small enough, you just see some smoke. What you can do is use gloves or a rag as you help to open your hood. That way you don't get burned as you do that. Keeping your face turned away. If the flames kind of catch up when you do that, just back away. Let the fire department handle it. But if it is something you can handle, get your fire extinguisher and to try to completely extinguish the fire. Okay. Don't try to disconnect the battery or anything like that while everything is hot. You can burn yourself. Passenger compartment. This is a lot of times from cigarettes, those types of things. But just pull off the road, use your fire extinguisher, call the fire department. Okay. If you're on a railroad track, and this is kind of like one of the more dangerous situations we have, your vehicle stalls on a railroad track. Okay. Make sure no train is coming. Okay. If there's no train coming, you have some time. Try restarting your vehicle. If that doesn't work, okay, if the engine is flooded, follow the process we just talked about. If you can't restart the engine, get your passengers to get out of the vehicle, go to a safe place, have one or two of them stay with you, and try to help push your vehicle off the tracks. Okay, put your car in neutral and push. If a train is coming, have somebody look out for the train, but if the train is coming, get out of the way. Go in the direction that the train is approaching. That's going to help you avoid fragments.